Right. I do that every time. Perhaps I'm trying to sync things even though this is just a raw file that's going to be immediately sent over to Owen. Whatever. So, big week actually coming up for gaming. Probably the final big week. Not only have we got the releases of the dodgy looking Rainbow Six Siege, apart from one mission which might justify why games should have single players, not just only multiplayer. That could be a separate issue at another point. And Just Cause 3, which looks to be a heck of a load of fun, but then when I hear people have had to do 3 minutes and 40 seconds of loading on consoles in between dying, it's, you know, hopefully that's better at launch, as in, like, now. But this weekend, coming up, we've got a big thing. We've got the PlayStation Experience, PSX 2015. 2 days of stuff, at least for the attendees. The big thing that everybody watching know is the keynote speech at the start of the event, which I think is 10 AM Pacific, 1 PM Eastern, 6 PM UK time. Whole crap ton of games there. That'll probably be the topic for next week. The PSX and what we see from these Game Awards, because as of previous years, there's going to be some exclusive stuff at the event for various things. I think they're doing Mortal Kombat X. That might be some DLC. Well, it's got to be, because that game's been out for quite a while. Quantum Break's getting some sort of showcase, and also first gameplay, from what I can tell, for Far Cry Primal, along with other stuff that's still yet to be confirmed. As it says here, 10 world premieres will be featuring in the show, apparently. Don't know what they are. Well, some of them are what I just said, but I have to see what the others are. But then, of course, you've got the Game Awards itself, which actually, after the debacles of the Spike ones over the years, the Game Awards that Jeff did last year were pretty successful. But we can't let that go. The thing we can't let go, it's the most important thing of his career. And if you excuse me, but I think I need a bit of a bite to eat and a drink. Right, where is it? Look at this. Look at this. This isn't paid, you know, because I don't even know what this is going to be like. I'll be honest with you, this is dated February 2014. It might still be okay. If that's the case, tells you what crazy stuff goes into soft drinks. Yeah, I think that's okay. It's gone stale. I don't feel energized. Slightly bitter taste. Then again, it's 18 months out of date. So I better put that in shot. At the same time, because I've got to do this, because it's what Jeff's famous for. I'll get it the right way around, Ash. I'm so overjoyed. And again, I do like Doritos. I've been turned on to the power of Doritos. I don't know why. 2015 has been the year of me eating this. Which probably means I'm eating all of them. During Raw, I'm going to be deafening Owen with. So. Man, these are spicy. I haven't had them in a few weeks. Whoa! So. That's probably the only one I eat, but if I get bored, I might do some stuff I'm doing. So the nominations have come out. And of course, first we'll go through the view. I mean, I don't need to really talk about Game of the Year, because I think I did enough campaigning for that last week, even though it's probably already been decided. But of course, the ones that haven't been decided are the fan-voted ones. So, first up, we've got Most Anticipated Game, which is Horizon Zero Dawn, No Man's Sky, Quantum Break, The Last Guardian, and Uncharted 4. from what I remember of the voting, which I'm going to have to quickly go to over here, the voting this year is actually being done by Twitter as well as via social media stuff. Oh, that's interesting. There is no more voting, at least on here, because it was great last year because you could look at the stats and see where everything was, and I've got to remember where everything was yesterday. So it looked, the fact that you can't vote online makes me wonder now whether it's all been finalised. In which case, I'm trying to remember what happened. I'm going to spoil it for you. So, most anticipated game, as I said, the 5 nominees. I think No Man's Sky was number 1, but Uncharted was second. Admittedly, that was a few days back. It's not as recent as yesterday. The yesterday ones I do remember. Then we had esports, a couple of esports related ones. Esports Player of the Year, you had Kenny S from Team Envious for Counter-Strike, Faker from SKT1 for League of Legends, Olaf Meister from Fnatic for Counter-Strike, PPD from Evil Geniuses for, I guess, possibly Hearthstone, and Suma1L from Evil Geniuses, I think, for Heroes of the Storm. I'm not sure about those two. I've been following Counter-Strike over the last few months and been interested in the League of Legends thing, mainly because it was over here and all the mess that seems to be going on with that, with everything that I hear and whatever. You know, the debacle that 2 of the heroes had to be, or 2 or 3 I think of the heroes had to be barred out because of a bug. That happens like once in the blue moon. So the likelihood of it happening in the tournament ever again would probably be none. But they still banned them. And there being key players that people would pick. That's the complicated issue. From what I remember when I last looked at this last week, Faker was leading the way. Then for Esports Team of the Year, you've got Evil Geniuses, Fnatic, Optic Gaming, SKT1 and TSM. By the looks of it, Optic Gaming was winning when I last looked, being the Call of Duty one, so that would make sense. Which is somewhat of a weird choice, considering nobody can watch that because it's just on MLG.tv. I mean, admittedly, they've got an app, but it's not Twitch. You know, we've already seen people from that side come over and are getting 10 times more viewers on Twitch than they ever were doing their streams that they could only do on MLG because they were contracted. Which technically means more revenue for whoever their bosses are because they get more revenue from the channel. Is that too stupid an idea? Then Trending Gamer, the one that I actually have been tracking. We've got Monte Cristo, the commentator from League of Legends, Greg Miller, Markiplier, PewDiePie, and Total Biscuit. The really great twist about this is the ones that you'd expect to be at the top, like last year, this year aren't even at the top. Yeah, PewDiePie and Markiplier, who I think were like 2nd and 3rd last year if you looked at the records, they're like 4th and 5th. And it seems to be Team Miller versus Team Biscuit. And from when I saw, Miller was ahead. So I don't know if either way, I'm really overjoyed if either of them wins. I love both. I love all the content that they put out. And, yeah, the right people are winning. I'm not entirely a fan of PewDiePie and Markiplier. The real people, I love. The characters they put in their YouTube videos, not so much. Which is a shame. Because they are really nice guys. Esports Game of the Year, the contenders were Call of Duty, Counter-Strike, Dota 2, Hearthstone, and League of Legends. The really good thing that I was pleased to see is I think Counter-Strike was winning when I last looked, followed by Dota 2. I think Hearthstone was third. Call of Duty was like fourth. Because I think people have slightly lost interest in that as the series has waned over the years. And I think League of Legends might actually have been fourth and Call of Duty might have been last. I think League of Legends is starting to fall off because no big changes. There's no League of Legends 2 yet. Wait for it to be announced. And then we've got Best Fan Creation, which is the very, very shitty one. Because there are 5 nominees, but the way it's presented on their website is that there's only 4. The one that was only available for you to look at to vote by actually clicking on the Vote Now button was Super Mario Maker e-reader levels. That was hidden away. It didn't have a thing where it openly said this is a nominee. It was just buried away. Hence why it was in 5th place forever. Because nobody knew it was there. The only 4 that were listed, which unsurprisingly are the top 4 out of the 5, are GTA 5 Target, which is, you know, an in-game level. Portal Stories Mel, the mod for Portal or Half-Life, whatever, that's free. Real GTA, which is basically a YouTube video trying to do the GTA experience in real life. And Twitch Plays Dark Souls. All 5, and I stress 5 because they don't want you to know there's 5 apparently. Wonder if Nintendo can go bullshit on this one. I mean, unlikely, because I don't think Super Mario Maker's e-reader levels were even going to stand a chance. But still, there were 5. You'd only think there were 4. As from what I saw, Portal Stories Mel was leading the way, which I'm overly pleased for, because the fact that God knows how much work has gone into that by, you know, the people creating the mod, and the mod, which is basically a game in itself, and they're giving it away for free. Please tell me there's like a PayPal button that I can donate to. But yeah, that's the ones that I'm looking forward to. So then we come to the actual main awards. We'll go from the small to the big first, or the big last, should I say. So Best Art Direction, the nominees are Batman Arkham Knight, Bloodborne, Metal Gear 5, Ori and the Blind Forest, and Witcher 3. They all are very nice looking games, but just because I think it deserves credit because it's the small guy in the big hitters, I would say Ori and the Blind Forest, although I would say probably Bloodborne is going to win. Because Batman had its issues here and there. I mean, not really in art direction, but Bloodborne is just an overly beautiful game. I think what hurts the other ones, less so Witcher because it is 60 on PC, is the 30 frames per second lock. Stuff looks so much better when it's in normal 60p. Or as my webcam brings it to you, via me, 4 frames a second. Or that's what it feels like. Or what it looks like from here. Wow. It's practically like Mr. Roboto. Like, best multiplayer. We've got Call of Duty Black Ops 3, Destiny the Taken King, Halo 5 Guardians, Rocket League, and Splatoon. Again, let's give credit to the little guys. Rocket League is the game that has gone from nothing to esport in 6 months. I don't think anything else has had that much success from an unparalleled genre. Because you wouldn't have thought RC cars racing and playing RC car football would be an esports game and be really fun, but it is. Some of the things that some of the players do in that game is ridiculous, and I think it deserves to be recognised. I mean, Splatoon would be a good choice as well, just because the multiplayer people would rage like, what? Hardcore game didn't win, like Halo and whatever? Halo will probably win because apparently, you know, we've got to give credit to that game, despite the fact the story was meh. Best sports racing game. We've got FIFA 16, Forza 6, NBA 2K16, Pro Evo 2016, and Rocket League. If anything, that's one where Rocket League is probably going to win. Nothing against the other games, but Rocket League is probably the best game out of that list. Best family game. We've got Disney Infinity, free. Lego Dimensions, Skylanders Superchargers, Splatoon, and Super Mario Maker. It's clearly a toss-up between Lego and Super Mario, but I think it's going to go to Mario just because that's... It shouldn't really go to Mario because... well, let's be honest, some of the levels in that, nobody's going to be able to complete very easily. And when it's in a 100 Mario challenge and you've got 16 levels to go through, and because half of them are basically Kaizo sort of impossible things, you know, I'm sort of going into what I did last week with the Game of the Year nomination. I'd love it to be Lego Dimensions. It's probably going to go to Mario. Best fighting game. WWE 2K16 is not included in here. Because it was like randomly last year when the game was crap. Or 2 years ago. It wasn't in sports, it was in fighting, which, whatever. Guilty Gear, XRD Sign, Mortal Kombat X, Rising Incarnates, and Rising Thunder. Considering I never heard the other three came out this year, probably Mortal Kombat X. It is a very good game. I don't think it's as good as 9, but I still think it was a very good game. And leaves it open for basically some of the old characters to be retired, as much as people will want to see them back. You know, Cassie Cage by Ashley Birch is a really good extension of Johnny. And I think, you know, we don't have to see Johnny about so much. It'd be nice to, admittedly, but perhaps it'd be weird now to see the new characters in 11, and then if you progressed, you actually unlocked the classic characters as a bonus. Just putting that idea out to you for Mortal Kombat 11, Everrealm. Just putting it out there. Best RPG. We've got Bloodborne, Fallout 4, Pillars of Eternity, Witcher 3, and Undertale. See, again, this should be the small guy, and Undertale gets the recognition, because that game is so detailed, you know. If you try to delete your save file and then reload, it won't matter, because the game will know. If you try and do if you try to clean the files out altogether, the game will still know. And will punish you for those actions. That sort of stuff deserves recognition. Heavily. All 5 of them are very strong. My personal pick would be Undertale, but I think for this one they might... If they give it to Fallout 4, it will be a shame. Because I think with the issues that it has... And also the fact that it feels less of an RPG and more of a shooter now. Than, you know, classic Fallout is very RPG. Fallout 3 and 4 have been more RPG with a shooter mechanic. Well, a first-person / third-person mechanic. Because I know there's melee stuff as well, but... best action adventure, we've got Assassin's Creed Syndicate. No. Batman Arkham Knight. No. Metal Gear. Well, you know my opinion on that. Because Konami is Konami, and Konami is the worst. Ori and the Blind Forest and Rise of the Tomb Raider. As much as I hate to say it, I wouldn't object to Rise of the Tomb Raider winning here. Because it's actually a very good game. On last gen as well as next gen. Which a lot of the games on this thing, you know, Batman and Assassin's Creed didn't even go last gen. Tomb Raider did, and although, you know, it's obvious that some bits aren't as good, when I looked at Digital Foundry's comparison of the 360 and the Xbox One versions, at some points, the Xbox 360 version performs better and looks better than the Xbox One version. Most notably, because I think on the Xbox One, well, it says, the interesting thing is, for the gameplay on 360, the gameplay is at 30 frames a second, but the cutscenes are at 60. So, it's still a bit juddering to see that, because then you got a gist. But when you see the cutscenes in 60 and then the frame rate spluttering on Xbox One, it's sometimes a bit... Sometimes you prefer it a steady 30, because then it's constant, rather than the issues that you had with the Xbox One version. But I want it to go to Ori and the Blind Forest, because that's just a great game and made quite a lot of people cry. I mean, the other games made people cry for other reasons. Now, Syndicate wasn't actually that bad a game. I wouldn't object to that. Arkham Knight, because of the PC issues, no. And Metal Gear, because it isn't the full experience that we were supposed to get, because Konami. You know, I don't want Metal Gear to win any awards. It's probably going to win all of them, because it's Jeff Keighley and he's best friends with Kojima. And then Konami will say it isn't Kojima that won them, it was Konami. Because Konami is Konami, and Konami is the worst. Best shooter, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, Destiny the Taken King, Halo 5 Guardians, Splatoon, and Star Wars Battlefront. Battlefront, no, because it doesn't have single player. Call of Duty Black Ops 3, I have to say no, because the fact that you do a single player where you can actually let people skip and just do the final mission for the heck of it. Which is weird, because that game actually has a New Game Plus, which has a completely different storyline. You know, they put all that effort into a story mode, and they literally did it so nobody has to play the story mode. You know, you can ignore it altogether, despite the fact that the story is serviceable, but when it twists into New Game Plus, and characters get replaced for other characters, it becomes way more intriguing. Halo 5, again, you've got a average campaign. Multiplayer may be good, but average campaign. Splatoon doesn't... Well, it does have a story mode of sorts, which is pretty fun and hectic, so... Weirdly, Destiny should win. Or Taken King should win, I guess. The expansion. Or, I guess, you know, the actual new game, because if you bought it, you basically got all the expansions with it. Destiny Taken King is what Destiny should have been last year. And I don't know whether we should give Bungie credit for that, but we might as well. Games for Change. So these are the ones that are a bit different. So first up is Cybele, which literally only came out about a month ago. But I'm just looking at the Steam thing because I actually never heard of it. But it's very interesting. As it says here, Cibele is a game about love, sex, and the internet. You play as a 19-year-old girl who has become close with a young man she's met in an online game. Her relationship with him heats up, becoming more and more intimate with each phone call and private chat. Based on a true story as well, apparently. It's only a couple of hours long, but hang on, I need to put that to my wish list, because that sort of concept seems like a really genius idea. It's certainly presenting it in a way that is clearly trying to have some sort of effect in terms of what's going on. Because I think the whole idea is it's obviously about relationships, and considering it's online stuff, it could go anywhere. Because I haven't played the game, I don't even want to know or look into it. It's sort of like to some extent a Stanley Parable. Best that you describe about it as little as possible, and whatever. So that looks very good. Her Story from Sam Barlow, which is basically the woman. You're analysing videotapes from like the 80s or whatever, from her interviews, because she's been accused of murder, and that's a very mental sort of game as well. Life is Strange, again, really sort of focused narrative, and Don't Nod doing a really good game again, because I enjoyed Remember Me, despite the fact nobody remembers Remember Me. There's the irony. Sunset, the game that was so good that, well, I say so good, that the studio that did it now no longer exists, I believe. Oh no, that's another game. Yeah. So, yeah, it only sold 4,000 copies in its first month of release. So they announced that they would no longer pursue commercial video game projects. It's got a review of 65%, but it's basically it's no different to a walking simulator, but then all these games really deserve the recognition to be in here. Sunset was you're a housekeeper doing tasks around the house during the middle of a civil war in the fictional country of Anchuria. And all that you see happens basically through the windows that you can only get glimpses of, and various things changing in the house, I guess, over time. Which is an interesting twist. That's why it's in there as a nominee. And then finally, Undertale. Talked about already, really. I'd like to see Her Story win it, mainly because it's British. But any of those 5 should win. Really good games. Well, Cibele I don't know about, but that looks interesting. But they've all got a lot of acclaim. Sunset got crapped on by reviewers, and as you heard, it only sold a fair few number of copies. But now that people are aware of it, after the whole we're not doing anything again, people are actually realizing this actually is pretty good. People loved Gone Home. People loved Dear Esther. It's practically the same as them, from what I can tell. It's not a dramatic, over-the-top game. Best performance, We've got Ashley Birch for Chloe Price's character in Life is Strange. Camilla Luddington as Lara Croft in Rise of the Tomb Raider. Doug Cockle as Geralt in Witcher 3. Mark Hamill as the Joker in Arkham Knight. And Viva Seifert playing the woman in Her Story. Hands down, because it was the best bit of the game, Mark Hamill as Joker. Mainly because let's give him as much plaudits as we can. Because then we might find an excuse to have him in the next Batman game. Or some role in the next DC game. Whatever that may be. Best score, we've got Fallout 4, Halo 5, Metal Gear, Ori and Blind Forest and Witcher 3. Just because the score has about 50-something tracks, you have to give it to Witcher 3. Because they all sound really beautiful and everything. But they're all good scores. Admittedly, you can't take out MGS5 and Fallout 4 a bit, because some people will actually think, well, that's the licensed stuff, like the 80s stuff. Which it isn't entirely. I think when you do best score, you've got to do it with really original music. You can't say, oh look, you know, Snake's playing Ride of the Valkyries, 10 out of 10. No. Again, Konami is Konami, and Konami is the worst. Best narrative, so best story, we've got Her Story, Life is Strange, Tales from the Borderlands, Witcher 3 and Until Dawn. This is the only recognition for Until Dawn. That's why it should win. Because it clearly knows it's trying to be like a B-movie thing, but goes in ways that is really unimaginable, really. The two episodic games in Life is Strange and Tales from the Borderlands deserve credit as well. It's another one that I think Her Story would be good. Basically, all 5 should win. But I'd like it to be Until Dawn, because I think that's been underrated. You know, the reviews were average to good. And I think that's, again, become more of a cult classic. A lot of people enjoying it. Admittedly, it's not great to go back to, but think about it. Within the next few months, it's probably going to be at about $30. And for that price, I think it is worth taking a punt. 60, being an early adopter, it probably would be, but when it's cheaper, just experiencing it, and it'll be good. Best mobile handheld game, we got Downwell, Fallout Shelter, Lara Croft Go, Pac-Man 256 and Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. So yeah, only one of these games is actually a 3DS one, all the rest are mobile. To be honest, it has to go to Fallout Shelter. Nobody saw it coming. It's a really fun little... That's more of an RPG base building thing than arguably Fallout 4 is. And especially because it was free. The only way that they're making money from it is the buying lunch boxes in the game, which is totally optional. You don't have to do that, and it really isn't forced on you, unlike some other games. So let's go with that one, please. Best indie game, we've got Axiom Verge, Her Story, Ori and the Blind Forest, Rocket League, and Undertale. I can't pick here. All 5 games are great. Literally all 5 will win. They won't, because one will have to, but I wouldn't object to any of them. And finally, Developer of the Year. We've got Bethesda, CD Projekt Red, From Software, Kojima Productions, and Nintendo. See, this is where I have to give it to Kojima Productions, because, they don't exist anymore. And we've got to give credit to him, because at least it isn't going to Konami. I think. That's the problem. If Konami thinks it's their reward when it actually goes to Kojima Productions, then we can't give it to them. If it is for Kojima Productions and Kojima Productions alone, give it to them. Let's give them the recognition for everything that they've done over the past 20 plus years. If not, I would actually say Nintendo, because Mario Maker and Splatoon, Splatoon was this year, so you've had a lot of steady good games on there. Yoshi's Woolly World, really good game as well. That's produced out loads. Whereas with From Software, you've got Bloodborne, and that's it. CD Projekt Red is Witcher, and that's it. Kojima is Metal Gear, and that's it. Bethesda is, I guess, technically Fallout Shelter, but also Fallout 4. The thing with the political nature of stuff is something's going to happen here that basically Bloodborne is going to win something, Fallout 4 is going to win something, Mario is going to win something, Witcher is going to win something, and Metal Gear is going to win something. They're going to do it in such a way so that there is at least parity, so the ones that don't walk away with the Game of the Year award will get some sort of recognition, because it's a strong list of 5 games for that Game of the Year, as I said last week. I've already said why the other 4 shouldn't win. Well, mainly the other 2. But in terms of other stuff, I think they said that churches and also deadmau5 are doing live music, along with other stuff that we don't even know about. Will Nintendo do a Zelda like they did last year and wow us with something? Probably not. And of course, Sony will like to keep as much to their chest as possible, considering on Saturday, I think they won't break the internet. I think it's a bit more sturdy than everybody says. But that is going to be a very interesting press conference on Saturday. So I guess join me next week as we'll see what the bandwagon does, see how wrong I was on all these picks, and how stupid the voting panel are, because Konami is Konami and Konami is the worst. Have I said that enough? Konami is Konami and Konami is the worst. Konami is Konami.